Hello. Welcome to Scented Pages. Welcome back to my channel, baby. Got a book I want to talk about. Actually, I think I might do two books. Two books that honestly don't have anything to do with one another. I just want to get the videos for them done and out the way with. So it's for Love 101 and for, where is it? This one, the Prada Plan. Now, what I noticed about myself is, and about my reading selection most of the time, is that I am either reading filth, like the smuttiest of smut, or the Bible. Terrible. There's no middle ground. But with that being said, the two books that I'm reading, that I read, that I want to talk about in this video, they have absolutely nothing to do with one another. Is The Prada Plan, a little bit of ratchet, and Love 101, a little bit of nonfiction. I know I wasn't gonna really do too much nonfiction on my channel, but this was good. And there's just a few things that I want to talk about. So although it's not going to be, a major part of my channel, I'm not going to do all, a lot of it all the time. If I find something, a particularly good nonfiction book that I want to share bits and pieces with on here, I'm going to do that. So let me see. All right. Put this to the side. I got me a little Crystal Light water. I love Crystal Light so much. It's so good, especially the lemon one. It just tastes like a little bit of lemon water. Oh my god, delicious. I'm kind of nervous about this video too because I really want it to be right. But however, with that being said, there's so much of this that I want to discuss, and I don't want the video to be too long. I mean, of course, I don't have a problem with just talking and making a nice long video if we can just be cozy and discuss things. I love that, but I'm sure that nobody feels like sitting here listening to me talk for the longest in one video for an hour or more about two different books. I don't know. I'll see how long it takes me to get through this one, and then I might make a separate video for this book. And honestly, I'm only going to answer the questions in the back of this book. This was so good. So, all right, let me, and this was the perfume I wanted to do. Do I have over there in my camera on my lotion and stuff? Okay, so I like this one. It's so pretty. It's Fantasy Sheer by Britney Spears. It's so light, and I chose this one because this book, Love 101, to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. It's all about loving yourself. And usually like in college or whatever, when I think about like a 101 class, like Psych 101 or English 101, usually you're learning the fundamentals of that course, the first basics of what you need, the foundations of it. And that's what I like about this book, is that it really expounded on the fundamentals, the basis of self-love and taking care of yourself first, and explaining what that means. So this perfume, I just I like it because it's light and airy, and it just makes me, want to love on myself. It just kind of exudes for me sheerness and lace that reminds me of love and femininity. Those, It just does. So that's why I picked this perfume. I think it's so light and pretty, and I love it. Fantasy Sheer by Britney Spears. Let me see. I didn't pull up the the notes in it, but it is just so light. And I know I keep saying that, but it's not like a light. It is a light sweet, but it's a light sexy sweet. It smells like bubble gum in the best, most grown up way. It smells good. I love it. Let me see if I can pull up the notes for you, because I myself am curious about what's in here. Let me see. Fantasy Sheer by Britney Spears. Okay, so its main accords are sweet, fruity, fresh, citrus, floral, aquatic, tropical, powdery, white, floral, and musky. See, it's like that musky floral. That's what grows it up and makes it, a little more mature. I like a nice mature scent. So it says Fantasy Sheer by Britney Spears is a floral, fruity fragrance for women. Fantasy Sheer was launched in 2021. Its top notes are citrus's water, lychee, Kensei. Middle notes are water lily, lily of the valley. Oh, wow. And its base notes are cupcake, white musk, iris, and woodsy notes. Beautiful. Oh, my goodness. And it's definitely just radiates just femininity and, a good self-care day, that you just want to, okay, let me not get carried away. But yay. So, Fantasy Sheer. Look at that bottle. Isn't that pretty? She always has the best bottles. Her bottles are always pretty for that line. So, let me see now. I took so many notes on this book. It was so much fun. Okay. So, because I want to have a little order to it, I'm going to read and do my notes that way. So I said, Love 101 was such a fun book to read. I started it around Valentine's Day in the spirit of self-love, as opposed to having that day being about loving someone else outside of ourselves. My favorite points are as follows. Self-love versus selfishness, because there's a big difference that people tend to confuse. Selfishness in its negative sense means I love me and only me and the hell with you. This way of thinking is actually quite sociopathic because while self-love does not mean pleasing others at the expense of ourselves, it also does not mean that we should please others ourselves at others' expense. It's more of putting your needs first. For example, putting your needs to eat, sleep, and bathe first so that you can properly show up for not just yourself, but other people too. So if you take care of your needs and your wants, being with others is more enjoyable and productive. In fact, for most people, self-love makes them less selfish. On page, 68, this was really good. I folded it. Okay, he says, the notion that our environment causes some deep psychological scar, a scar that must be healed, rather than a genetic toss of the dice that includes all the greatness and limitations in our makeup, has been a fundamental barrier to loving ourselves. And I've often heard that, especially in my community, of us kind of just starting off, or not necessarily starting off broken, but that too, but getting broken somewhere along the lines in your childhood. Not really being, not that your parents did it on purpose, but just, not being perfect. And it ends up, you have kind of holes in your spirit where, that weren't supposed to be there. I've heard that notion before, but I like this better. He says, this lack, this is, okay. Greatness in our makeup has been a fundamental barrier to loving ourselves. It says, we fail to do the most important self-loving act of all, accept ourselves, and then learn to work with our accepted assets and liabilities. Further along, he says, while we aspire towards greater and greater, why not also delight in how great we already are? And if we can't quite bring ourselves to relish it, let's at least accept it. Which moves us right into self-acceptance. See, now he has each little subtopic in the book. And you see how I've highlighted a lot. I did a lot with this book. It was so good. But, so, yeah. Self-acceptance. When we fail to accept ourselves, all of ourselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly and the beautiful, it is very difficult to get anything done, especially loving ourselves. This lack of acceptance seems to stem from a desire to fit in, to get along, to be the same. So we have this model of having to be average that we use to torture into normality any part of ourselves that doesn't necessarily fit in. So of course then that destroys our uniqueness. It cuts off the best and the worst of what we are. And I know that for myself, sometimes I tend to be a little overly critical of my own loudness, my own loud, outgoing personality, because for whatever reason, I've been taught that, being quiet is better, and being a quiet person is a little more dignified and things like that. At least that's what I've gotten, in society. People will like you more if you aren't as loud and bubbly and things like that. And honestly, I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's wise and it shows dignity when a person knows when and how to speak and when to be loud and have fun and being outgoing. I'm not always loud. Oh, that reminds me. My mother gonna sit there and tell me a while ago, when she looked at some of my videos, she said for me that I should calm down. And I thought that was rich. I thought that was real rich. Because who did I come from? How you gonna tell me to get on the camera and be somebody different when I come from the loudest, most outgoing, funniest person I know? But I was like, no, I won't. I'm going to accept myself. And I'm going to get on this camera and be myself. Oh, I said, Mommy, she always got something to say. So I said, accept everything, even your weight. Sometimes I even tend to be overly critical of I want to be thicker, but that's not necessarily in my genetic makeup. My mom didn't give me those genes. She got thick booty genes. I am small built, and I always have been. And that's okay. You have to accept who you are, where you are at that moment, or else nothing will ever be good enough. I'll never, even when I get to be, 150 pounds or whatever, a few more pounds heavier than what I am, I'll still find something to criticize. So it's just about accepting everything and where you are at that moment too. It's not that you can't improve and make things better, but no matter what, loving yourself where you are. Acceptance. It says, Acceptance is the step before you even evaluate whether something is positive or negative. Acceptance is simply seeing something for what it is and saying, this is what it is. There is no need to apply right or wrong, good or bad, useful or limiting. Simply see it for what it is and accept it. To accept ourselves, we must know ourselves. Interestingly, if we accept the idea that we'll accept whatever we discover about ourselves, it makes the knowing easier. When we no longer struggle with the fear of what we might be and accept that we'll accept whatever we find, then self-discovery can be a journey of fascination and curiosity, not one of foreboding, denial, and dread. Which also now moves us right into self-knowledge. Let me see. There's a couple of things that I wanted to read right out of the book, so I'm going to get to that page. All right. Self-knowledge. We need to take a, hold on, sip. He says, we need to take a straight ahead, lights on, ruthless, flattering, unflinching look at ourselves and say, that's me. Self-knowledge tends to be less a process of discovery than of acknowledgement. Another word for acceptance. For the most part, we already know ourselves. We've just been spending a lot of time refusing to admit or actively hiding what we already know to be true. So, it was something I wanted to read from out of here. Okay, this was a good concept about the mirror. So, the mirror. When we look outside ourselves, we tend to evaluate. These evaluations tell us about the people and things around us. These evaluations also tell us about ourselves. It's known as the mirror concept. The mirror concept goes like this. Whatever we find true about the people and things around us is also true about ourselves. When we evaluate anything outside ourselves, what we are doing is looking into a mirror. The mirror reflects back to us information about ourselves. You may not always like what you see in the mirror. You may not always be comfortable with it. But if you want to learn about yourself more quickly, looking at yourself in the mirror of people and things is a valuable tool. So he says, with the mirror of life, he says, you may not like all that you see in the mirror, but until you look into the mirror and accept all that you see about yourself, you will not be able to make the changes, compensations, or improvements you like. Let's say you look at someone and think, she is angry, and I don't like that. Could it be that you like being angry? If you observe someone and say, he's afraid to act, I wish he'd just do it. Could there be something you're afraid of? Something you wish you would just do? Sometimes we have to shift our focus a bit to see what it is about ourselves that's being reflected by others. For example, you may look at someone smoking and not like it. You might say, I don't like smoke. How does that apply to me? What is it that you don't like about the other person's smoking? It's unhealthy. What do you do that's not healthy? Smoking is inconsiderate. What do you do that's inconsiderate? Smoking is a bad habit. What is your worst habit? It's a waste of money. How do you waste money? It shows a lack of self-control. What could you use more where could you use more self-control? Good, those are good self-analysis questions. Get the idea? There are other people's actions, and then there are the judgments we place on those actions. If we move from the action we judge and look at the judgment, we usually find a similar judgment we make about ourselves. It's fun to extend this idea beyond people and include things. This car never works when I want it to. What about you never works when you want it to? It always rains at the worst possible time. What do you do at the worst possible time? Wait a minute. This steak is too tough. What about you could use some tenderizing? Why is that hilarious? The mirror gives you lots of material on which to practice acceptance. You can learn to accept everything you already know about yourself, as well as everything you learn by looking into the mirror of other people's behavior. Your hardest judgments of others are the very ones that will benefit you most if you accept them about yourself. The mirror also focuses you back on something, that is, someone, that you can do something about. Notice how little effect your judgments have on others. All that good advice you've been giving to others, or would gladly give them if only they had the wisdom to ask, finally has a home. You. And as you're the only one that you can really change, the only one who can really use all of your good advice is you. Like other aspects of self-love, the advice giver and the best user of the advice are the same person. When we look into the mirror of life and see all there is within ourselves that needs improvement, and we know we're going to be at it for some time, changing what we can, doing our best with what we can't, accepting and forgiving it all. We also see that whenever we lash out at another, we are really lashing out at ourselves. And then mirrors also reflect what's good about us. All the people and things you find loving, affectionate, caring, devoted, tender, wonderful, compassionate, beautiful, adorable, magnificent, and sacred are simply mirroring to you the loving, affectionate, caring, devoted, tender, wonderful, compassionate, beautiful, adorable, magnificent, and sacred parts of yourself. It says also, that's one of the reasons the mirror concept works. Most of the time we are projecting something onto almost everything. When the projection returns to us, we can see it as a reflection, which it is, or we can pretend it's emanating from whatever or whomever we projected the reflection onto. Yeah, this was a good section. So that's all I'm gonna read from that one. That was my favorite part of the self-knowledge section, that about the mirror concept. I thought that was really, really helpful. So self-esteem now, how we view ourselves, how we esteem ourselves is central to self-love. Why would we want to take care of someone we don't hold in good esteem? For the most part, we don't have to do or be any better than we are to feel better about ourselves. We just simply have to remember the good that we are and the good that we've done. Stop taking the good that you are and do for granted. Okay, and I said I like the cute little journaling prompt that he, had in on page 95. So the good book, I'm gonna read it straight from here. This is good because I actually definitely went and did it. I don't even have my bag in here where I could show you, but I went and got like a separate little calendar book so that I could do this exercise. This is cute. It says, for this, writing your own good book can be invaluable. Get a blank book of any kind or open a new computer file and list all the good things you do each day. It's really fun. Like, usually I do it once I get my quiet time, once I get to work and I have my quiet time and I'm like trying to do my Bible reading and stuff and I do my reflection on my day. That's when I do my good book writing. So he says it doesn't need to be an essay, just a few words to memorialize each good deed, or if you're breaking a bad habit, the lack of a negative deed, smoking 2 fewer cigarettes today. Focus especially on the good you take for granted. In time, the book fills with the accomplishments we otherwise tend to forget. By rereading the list, we remind ourselves of the good that we do and the good that we are. We begin to feel better about the person who accomplishes so much goodness, ourselves. Our self-esteem is enhanced. We can also enhance our self-esteem through self-talk. We talk to ourselves all the time anyway. We might as well use this time to convince ourselves of what is already true, that we are a pretty neat person. I like that little activity prompt, that little journaling prompt. I love doing that. Okay, self-confidence. Self-confidence is simply knowing that you can do whatever is most important to you. No, we can't do everything we want or be everything we'd like to be, but we can feel confident about what we know we can do and about what we already are. Self-confidence is primarily demonstrated by doing. Here, your good book comes in handy because the things that you have done often in the past you can be fairly certain of doing again. That's self-confidence, like self-esteem. You simply need to remember that you did them. Self-confidence is knowing that we are what we are and we don't have to apologize to anyone for it. Self-service. This chapter is about doing all those things for yourself that you don't want to do, but you'd be a lot happier if you got them done. No, that's funny. As we look around, we probably see any number of things that need doing. Our lives are probably cluttered with things that we'd be a lot better off if we would only take care of them. Self-service is taking care of them. I hadn't really thought of that as a self-love concept, but that is definitely an act of self-love. Even if you don't necessarily feel like doing it, future you will be thankful that you just went ahead on and got it done and out the way with, because now that's less of something that you have to think about doing. And now it's done and it's beneficial that it's done. I like it. It definitely is a self-love aspect. Self-service is taking care of them. It's a matter of keeping agreements that you make with yourself, just as you would keep agreements with significant others. Would you keep an agreement with your best friend, your doctor, your mother, your parole officer? Then keep it with yourself. Don't attempt to enjoy these activities. Just get them done. Then enjoy the fact that they are done. That is the satisfaction of self-service. Self-respect. Some fundamental statements a person worthy of self-respect should be able to make. 1. I take care of my basic needs, meaning you are providing yourself with food, shelter, clothing, and looking after basic hygiene needs of cleanliness and disease prevention. 2. I do not physically harm the person or property of another. 3. I avoid truly stupid risks with my own person and property. It's impossible to make risk-free I don't know what I meant by that. It's impossible to make risk-free. I don't know. Maybe it's impossible to make risk-free decisions or like growth, but I must have skipped a word. My bad. And people who take no risks whatsoever can have a lot of trouble respecting themselves. At the other end of the spectrum, there are risks we know are stupid when we are doing them, and we still know that they're stupid even when we get away with them. That's called reckless endangerment. Don't recklessly endanger yourself. 4, I don't hurt people emotionally just for the sake of hurting them. Self-criticism. Oh, I'm almost done. So then y'all definitely have time to do my other book. Yay. Self-criticism. Select very carefully the areas in which self-criticism is permitted. Self-criticism is the area in this area only delivers the criticism that will help us get to our goals, to achieve what we really want. And I told my folks to read page 117. Yes, this was a good point. Okay, so then that means self-criticism. Because you're not just criticizing every aspect of yourself. That can also kind of be the downside of it, is that if you're not careful, tend to go overboard with just picking apart at every little thing. And that's not needed. He says, what you want to do is analyze and criticize the things that you are doing that's helping you achieve your goals and things. We must then choose carefully what we want to pursue and let the rest of the goals go by. All the goals we are not pursuing are not acceptable subjects for self-criticism. If we have decided that losing weight is not a high priority, then we do not get to think tisk, tisk, tisk every time we look in the mirror or look down. Hey, hey, hey is okay. If we have chosen not to fight the battle of the bulge, which is genetic and takes a great deal of time and effort to fight, we, as self-lovers, are not entitled to criticize our bulge. I like it. Unless the excess weight is truly endangering our health in a major way, this is a category for self-acceptance, not self-criticism. Isn't that cute? I love it. Self-discipline. Now, these last four ones are like my favorites of them all. So it's self-discipline, self-improvement, self-forgiveness, and self-reliance. So self-discipline. The purpose of self-discipline is to form a good habit. To develop a good habit requires a lot of self-discipline, and to maintain the habit requires a much smaller but still measurable amount of self-discipline. Discipline comes from the word disciple, to be a loving student of. Self-discipline is being a loving student of yourself. Many people think of self-discipline as a way of breaking a bad habit, but why not instead see it as a way of making new good habits? And then I'm going to read. Let's see. Many people think of self-discipline as what is required to break a bad habit. Why not instead see it as a way of making a new good habit? Then self-discipline doesn't have to be associated with breaking anything. Let's say you consider smoking a bad habit and you want to eliminate it. Rather than breaking the bad habit of smoking, why not think of your self-discipline as creating a new habit of not smoking? How do you create the habit of not smoking? Whenever you want to smoke, do something else, anything else. Eventually, and I'm not pretending for the moment that it's not a lot of work, you will be in the habit of not smoking. Just as you're currently in the habit of not getting a tattoo every Saturday night, not flushing dollar bills down the toilet, and not leaning over incinerators and inhaling deeply. If, however, you smoke and have decided not to try to stop, accept it. There is no point in adding self-judgment and guilt to whatever harm the cigarettes are doing. I know that's right. Self-discipline is a powerful tool for creating and maintaining good habits. Good habits let us love ourselves automatically. Oh my goodness. That was just so good to me. Self-improvement. I prefer the term personal growth. Growth implies a natural progression from one perfectly spectacular state to another. There is no perfect us that we will reach out there in the future, at which time we'll be whole. We're whole now. That harkens back to what we were saying earlier. We are the whole of what we are, about not being broken and whatnot. So anyway, we are the whole of what we are. When we simply nurture ourselves, personal growth takes place effortlessly. without any planning on our part. If we feed ourselves some uplifting ideas, give ourselves room to make mistakes, forgive ourselves, accept ourselves, and of course, take care of ourselves, we'll grow naturally, beautifully, splendidly. Humans are unique in that we can nudge our growth in certain directions by paying for it with time and attention. If we want to move in a certain if we want to move in a certain direction, the more time we spend talking about, exploring, practicing, imagining, affirming, and doing it, the more quickly we grow in that direction. Self-forgiveness. Now this I could definitely work on. Most of us judge ourselves more harshly and more often than we judge others. It's important to forgive ourselves for everything we hold against ourselves. Forgive the past and then forget it. Let it go. It's not worth remembering. That part, I tend to remember. Like, I'll forgive. I could say, but I guess maybe that's not forgiving if you remember. No, because my thing is, I never want to give you another chance to try to get back at me or to try to hurt me again. That's my thing. So if I forget, then that might open up another door. I don't know. I do know, too, that I tend to hold on to grudges. And that's not healthy. I'd be like, but I did forgive this situation or that person or even myself or something. And then I won't forget about it. I'll still be thinking about it. And that's what's not healthy. You don't still want to think about things that don't matter. And things that you've forgiven. Okay. Self-reliance. This one was good too. Good point. It is, of course, impossible to be completely self-reliant. We live in an interdependent existence. Each of us relying on mostly unseen others to fulfill our needs, while our work supports people we will never meet. I am speaking on self-reliance that rejects the current cultural myth that specific other people are absolutely necessary to fulfill our emotional needs. Romantic love is not as much of a need as pop culture will lead us to believe. I like that point. And that's true too. It's just a part of our society to listen to these longing love songs and to watch these shows and movies where the focus of it most of the time is love, or there's a love interest. And we've been taught that having a love interest is, one of the most important aspects of life. That's not necessarily. When it's, right, it can be definitely beneficial and help you to grow in your self-love. But it shouldn't be had at the expense of yourself and your happiness and things. It says, romantic love is not as much of a need as popular culture will lead us to believe. What makes romantic love seem like a need is not necessarily the lack of it, but the belief that if we had it, we'd be so much happier. And that's not necessarily true. You can be that happy single. Loving on yourself. But no matter what, I just feel like even if you are in a romantic relationship, the point is that romantic relationship allows you the time and the space and the mental peace to grow in your own self-love, to take care of yourself. I think that that's the takeaway. If it's not allowing that, then it could be left alone. Let me see. Oh, yay. Okay, so let me talk about this other book real quick. Oh, that was good. That was fun. Yay. I enjoyed that. Love 101 by Peter McWilliams. So good. I loved it. I did all the things with this book. Yay. And I'm dead. And it was one of my books from my library. So I can put that to the side now. Now that was a book from my personal library. This one I got from the regular library. Prada Plan. Oh my goodness. I have to talk about this book. Now, this is going to definitely be a spoiler review. It's not spoiler free. I'm definitely giving spoilers. But I'm not going to do a review summary like how I usually do. I'm going to just answer the questions that's in the back of the book. It was such a good book. So, let me read the synopsis again. The Prada Plan by Ashley Antoinette. Desire Morgan's infatuation with money knows no limits, and she will do anything to get it. When she's accepted into a New York organization known as the Elite, she is under the impression that she will be a high-paid model, but soon realizes that she's stepped into a world of sex and lies. She is befriended by Leah, the head mistress of the Elite, and together they make more money than they can spend. Nothing is too erotic for the pair, and Desire soon finds herself knee-deep in a world where no means yes, and there is no way out. She meets Indy and falls hopelessly in love with him, while she tries her hardest to keep her lifestyle a secret. But everything done in the dark eventually comes to light. When she loses control of her own hustle, things go horribly wrong, and she learns the hard way that in the game she's playing, there are no winners. This book was so good. So good. I read it with a friend of mine, and she and I had so much fun. She had pulled in her co-worker. She was reading to her co-worker, and we've all kind of connected on Facebook. It's been a thing. They've already moved on and read book 2 and have started book 3. They terrible. I downloaded book 3 yesterday and started it, but I also kind of got I started it. I got about 2 hours in, but I've also been reading is it in here? This book called I'm Not Done With You Yet. I must have left it in the living room. I'm Not Done With You Yet, which was another library book, and that book has kind of had me in a bit of a chokehold. I'll put it in the video. You should show the cover of it. It's real good. It's another book that's giving like obsessive female friendship like this book is. It's so funny that I go straight from this book, which is about like an obsessive female friendship, to that book, which is also like an obsessive female friendship. It's given, my own girl that I read this book said it reminds her of the movie Single White Female. I remember that movie. I used to have a girlfriend of mine and we used to always watch that movie. It was like a Lifetime movie that came on years ago. But these books definitely remind me of that movie. They're kind of in like along the same line. So that's the Prada Plan and I'm Not Done With You Yet. I'll probably do a video for I'm Not Done With You Yet because it's good. So, Prada Plan. I love this book. Giving it 5 stars. It was so good. What I'm going to do is answer the questions and hopefully I don't answer them too much. I'm hoping that the answers to the questions will spark your curiosity and make you want to read the book and find out the ins and the outs and the journey of it all, because it's really good. And I'm so glad that I've started book 2 and that I was able to get it right on Hoopla, baby. I use my Hoopla account, library account for it, baby. I should be serious sometimes. It's okay for me to be serious sometimes, but I never am. Anyway, question 1. Should Desire have forgiven Elaine for killing her mother? I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's so, I wish that I could figure out a way to, because me and my homegirl that I read this book with, we both answered these questions together. I wish I could figure out a way to get her answers into this video because it was all piping hot tea. But I don't think so. Because if it wasn't for Elaine killing her mother, that is what started the trajectory of her shit life. Like, if it wasn't for that event, she would not have had such a horrible life. As soon as that lady would have came out with that bull crap, I'd have punched her dead in her throat. I would have never forgiven her for that. But see, there we go. I mean, that's just, again, what I need to, work on. I definitely can hold on to a grudge. I need to stop, but no. No, she ain't need to forgive her for that. Number 2, was Desire wrong for not telling Indy about Skylar? I think it was goofy. So in the book, the way that she went about it was she traveled to him to tell him about Skylar. And then when she got there, she found out something that she didn't like. I don't want to tell. She found out something that she didn't like. And then she went all the way back home. Ain't no way. I'd have came down there and all that long distance, told him what she went to tell him, that, about Skylar. And then whatever from there. I don't know. But she didn't tell him initially because of the circumstances of the book. But then for her to continue to not tell him after she went down there, to me, that was goofy. That got on my nerves a little bit. But number 3, what could have happened to Leah to make her so cruel and disturbed? Is she crazy, or is there a deeper reason behind her actions? Now, had I not already started book 2, I would have said whatever I had said before. But since I've started book 2, and I completely understand and know why that girl is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and she has every reason to be horrific, awful childhood. Number 4, goodness. How did you feel when Indy and Desire saw each other again for the first time? Did he still love her all along? Was he wrong for beating her when she was pregnant? Yes, he was wrong. I would have never forgiven him for that one either. So it got really violent, and Indy, because of who he thought Desire was, beat the dog crap out that girl. And there's just no way that I could have forgiven that, because I would always think that potential is in you again. I would always think that there's a chance that monster could just explode out of you again. So I would, I don't do that. No, she shouldn't have. I don't think that she should have forgiven him for that. Number 5, did Mona deserve to die at the hands of Bay? Ooh, that's a sticky situation. I can't say that she deserved it, but I understand him. It wasn't right, but I understand him. That's all I'm gonna say. Number 6, did Mona's rape as a child contribute to her promiscuous ways as an adult? I think so. That happens a lot of times because some young girls or some people are introduced to sex in all the wrong ways. They think that that's just the way that you go about dealing with people in life. And that's kind of what happened with Mona. She just constantly relied on her body to get her what she wanted in the worst ways, and it caught up with her. What do you think of Buchanan Slim? He's a royal, hot, steaming piece of crap is what I think he is. And even more so since I started book 2. Even more so, he's just the worst of the worst. He's a pimp. And on top of him being just the worst, I don't vouch for pimp culture and all that kind of crap. So, he's gross. What do you think will happen to baby Skylar? Will Leah hurt her? Leah is on the edge of a mental break, and she is liable to do anything. I hope she don't hurt Skylar. I don't think she will. I don't think so. But at the same time, the way that her brain is breaking right now, like, it's a precarious situation. She's gonna have, it's woo. I can't wait to, I'm gonna read some more of it today. So I'll answer if there are questions at the end of it, because I'm listening to that one on audio, so I don't know. I'll have to look up and see if there's questions. Who is your favorite character and why? In this book, it was Leah. She was giving me everything I needed. She was being the villain of the villain's villain. She was given the antagonist that she needed to give. And I'm here for it. I love her. Evil, crazy self. I liked her. Desire, she's cool. I want her to be happy. That poor girl is taking hit after hit after hit. I like her, but I'm here for Leah. And I'm happy that book 2 mainly focuses on Leah's story. It's gonna be so good. If you no, who's your favorite character? Okay, number 10. If you were in Desai's shoes, would you have taken Indy back after all that she had been through? No. Number 11. Was Indy wrong for sleeping with Leah even though he didn't know who she really was or what she did? Was he wrong for moving on from Desai? No, he wasn't wrong. He was a little, it just was so fast. Everything in these books with these people and these situations, things happen so fast. Nobody takes the time to find out who anybody is or get to know anybody before they just be doing the most and falling in love and being the worst. It just be just so much so fast. So, I don't necessarily think that he was wrong so much as he was goofy. And that's it. The last 2 questions really don't apply to the book. 12. Are you an aspiring author? If you have a story to tell, you can go to www.urbanstreetpublishing.com. And number 13, did you enjoy Ashley's solo debut? Oh, this was her solo debut. Ashley Antoinette, and she writes books with her husband. Her and her husband, they write books individually and together. His name is Jaquavis. They have a cute little relationship, a cute marriage. I like them being authors together. That's cute. So this was a good book. I love me some good hood literature. It's such a wonderful time to be alive when there is so much ratchet shit to read. I don't think that at any other time and point in history there's been so much good urban smut at one time. I love it. So let me see how long ago. Oh my goodness, it's time to wrap this up. I will see you all next time. When I was first coming up with the concept of my channel, I was like, I just want my channel to be like one of those super calm, cozy, relaxing channels like the other booktuber girlies have that are just, they're so calm and zen-like, and that's how I want my little corner of the internet to be. So it to be just, you can just come to my space when you want to relax and talk about books. Girl. Yeah, right. Deppy dead. Soon as I hit record on the I be like, welcome to my channel. And I don't, what more do you want from me? What else do you want from me? I can't do anything else but what I'm doing and be anybody else than who I am.